Welcome everybody to another RWD gaming video. Tonight we are going to be diving into a setting created by AvTab's Jeremy Lilley called the Caldera or Caldera. I'm not sure if there's a pre. Nonetheless, it is a combination of high fantasy mixed with, a Western, um, edge of the frontier, new mysteries and native tribes kind of at conflict. There is, in fact, the firearms that you'd imagine in a Western setting. And so there is an opportunity to get some rather lethal shots in given proximity. So without further ado, I'm going to toss it over to my fantastic cast for the evening. We're going to start with Philip.
Hey guys, I'm Philip. Today I'm going to be playing Langford Pickett, who is a prospector hill dwarf, and he's been hearing about some of these dolmen folk not showing up, some traders not showing up in town for a while, so he's going to go and check them out.
Someone needs to, at the very least. We're going to go right along to Karen.
Hello, everyone. Tonight I am playing Merciless Angel, kind of a vigilante hunter. You know, if you're following the wrong side of the law, she's going to hunt you down and make you pay amends. Could be with your life. She's an arcane shooter, and she's around here because she has been hearing some old haunting ballads from past Durathian history have started to resurface, and this is quite a curious little thing happening, and she's wondering, where did these come from and who's starting them?
Something that we should find out. Dave.
Hey folks, I'm Dave with Mournblade Gaming, and I'm excited to be playing with these folks. I have never played with Anastasia or Chris, so I'm really excited to get in here into Caldera with them. I played with Karen and Philip on many occasions, and again, looking forward to that. And of course, Baron, he's kind of a mediocre DM, but I'm totally kidding. He's a kick-ass DM. I appreciate him heading up this game, and I'm really looking forward to it. Tonight, I will be playing Cletus Tilcott, aka the Hook. He is a bounty hunter, gunslinger, and kind of a dark individual. But yeah, he's curious as to what's going on in Dolmens because, well, he usually does it for the money. He also believes that the weak folks should be taken care of if needed.
Mediocre at best. We're going to go to Chris next.
Hey, I'm Chris with the Dargon Gaming Squad, and tonight I am playing Tika Hubble. She is a halfling chuckwagon master, and she is looking into some lost magic items on an ancient Durathian site, or a sacred Durathian site. So we shall see what that uncovers.
And I am very excited to have you, Chris. I know we've been skirting the same circles for a minute, so I'm glad to get you in a game. And finally, last but certainly not least, Anastasia.
Hey there. I'm Anastasia. I'm not really with any group, but these are my friends, and I love them all. And I've been riding off of their success and playing in their games for about a year now, so that's been super fun. I have never played with Baron as a GM, so I'm very excited about this. I am playing Kairon Copperhead, who is a little figuratively and a little bit literally a snake. And he is a little bit too curious, very interested in the Durathians, very interested in some in those relics that Chris was also talking about. But he's also got a friend who's helped him out of a couple of bad situations in Dolmens, and he has not heard from this friend in a while. And he's owes him some favors, so we'll see.
Hopefully you come across this friend. So, it's safe to assume that you guys, being as advanced in level as you are, kind of know the things that are entailed with going out on a journey that's especially a couple days away with people that haven't been made contact with for a while. So I'm going to safely assume that you have trail rations for at least 6 days and water. There, you know of various streams and small rivers that kind of dot the area that would be easy enough to venture to refill your canteens as well. You all have horses. Tika, I don't remember if you actually pulled the trigger on having a cart. So we got
I'm muted. Yeah, I did, and so I would have a team pulling the cart.
okay.
And I don't care too much for horses, so I actually have my mule Penelope. Thank you.
Right, of course. So the area outside of Wayword Gallows to the west, for a time, becomes fairly dense, densely wooded. And it comes to you the question, will this forest ever end? You've been traveling for about a day, but still the endless lines of trees hem the road on either side. Overhead, they meet in a leafy canopy that blocks out most of the sunlight. For a while now, it's just been occasional kind of like blots of sun as you pass through these thick trees. You've seen no traces of civilization since you entered the forest, and for the past few hours, you haven't heard a bird or the rustling of undergrowth. And that's why when you hear a scream, you are all startled, and I need you all to roll initiative. We're coming out of the gate strong on this one. Lost Dolmens of Caldera. Could be. You don't know. Pick and Angel, who has the higher dex modifier. Okay. So it's at this time, you've had a few seconds to really kind of determine whether or not this scream actually took place. The five of you may have even, glanced at each other, maybe even spoke up. And it's at this time you hear a second scream. And if any of you would like to make a perception check, you are allowed to do so.
I would love to make a perception check.
So it's clear to you that the scream is female. It's hard to make out if she said anything. It was kind of a hoarse, kind of chilling death scream. And you also hear the sound of hoofbeats. You thought maybe it was something that you hadn't been sure of before the second scream. As Angel is very taken with Tika's hat. And And it's at this time you see a short. He's not. If he was well fed, he'd be a bigger guy, but he's pretty slender right now. He's in a baggy shirt, loose trousers that probably fit him at one point, and he's running. What's kind of been a malfactor for this trek is the trail kind of winds, so you haven't gotten to see more than upwards of 140 feet in front of you. So as this guy kind of hits you in one of the longer stretches of your field of sight, he's about 120 feet away from you, and he is running as fast as he can. Kyron, it is your turn with an 18 on or 17 on initiative.
So, and this guy like, and this guy's on horseback too, and he's coming towards us.
This guy is running on foot.
He's running at us.
Yeah, terrified. He actually probably hasn't even seen you guys yet. He's looking over his shoulder.
Oh shit. Karen would probably like get everyone's attention. Hey there! Look alive! There's someone on the road! And I would try to just like, I would try to roar over the stomping of the hooves of our horses. And I don't think I want to make any other actions other than just like getting everyone ready. Maybe I can give a help action to someone else.
You could just ready an attack, or
I could. You know what? I will take my rifle from behind my back and just kind of put it in my lap, holding it with one hand in my other arm, hand on the reins.
Excellent.
Just kind of get ready for a potential.
And if that's anything, that's the last of what you want to do. It's at this time a ghostly figure mounted on horseback is barreling around the corner. You can see it's kind of difficult at this distance, but he appears to be, a thin cowboy, wide brim cowboy hat. He is wearing kind of like an overcoat. His horse, though a shade of green, appears to have been a brown or a black. And he's barreling down on this guy. And if you guys aren't able to do anything in between then and now, he's going to catch up to him probably next turn. And that brings us to Cletus.
So Cletus would like to roll a perception check to determine if he is familiar with this or seen this individual before. Based on Cletus's background, he got a 23 for perception to make him.
It's hard to tell from this distance, but the kind of the presence of this guy, you are familiar with it, though I don't know if you've ever met him by name. In fact, I don't even know his name. He's probably a bounty hunter that may have been doing work in the area for, the last couple of years, but you haven't heard or seen anything from him in the last couple of months.
Okay.
You would know that he was a good guy. Probably not someone you hung around with just because he did have more of a stronger moral conviction about things. He wasn't unjust, and he usually tried to bring his quarry in alive.
How far away from us is the individual that's running?
He is 120 feet away.
Okay. So I can do a double move on my horse, which doesn't take So the horses move, what, 40 or 60?
I think 60.
So I'm going to kick the horse up and get up to about 30 feet of him.
Okay.
And reaching in my pocket, I bring out this orb, and as I'm rolling it around on my hand, it begins to spin, and then I say shackle as I throw it at the guy that's running towards us. So it's a ranged attack. So that is a total of, let's see, 18 to hit. Basically, what I'm throwing at him is the iron bands of binding, and using the commands where basically it shackles the individual. And even they can make an attempt to break it, but I think it's DC 25 if I'm not mistaken.
So as you toss the, or is this is a spell? Am I not mistaken?
No, this is my rare magic item.
Okay. You throw, and you're positive that this, but it passes right through him, and they kind of clank to the ground unless they affect ghosts. Do they affect ghosts?
It doesn't say incorporeal, so I would say that they have to be corporeal.
So yeah, at this moment, it kind of just like the smoke that he has manifested of kind of plumes in as they pass through and skid in the dust of the trail on the other side.
This was the guy that was running on foot, right? Saying, "Help me."
Oh, you were throwing it at him?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, then he is locked down.
Okay, and I'm going to ride my horse just up next to him then, because the horse is still somewhat running, and I'm going to just sort of put myself between him and the pursuant.
Okay. Angel.
So you kind of answered my question. I had a question. You said ghostly figure. Did you actually mean ghost or pale? But he's an actual ghost, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So Mercy's not going to hesitate. She's going to pull that rifle that she has on her back and load and shoot.
Okay.
That would be an 18 to hit. And my bullet is magical.
Okay. That will hit.
Okay. Perfect. Where are we? So that's 15 points of piercing damage. That's magical.
So as you shoot down this range, you hit this figure probably in the shoulder, and whether it's, I guess it's how your view of ghosts are. He kind of shudders from the impact, but it doesn't like kind of ploof through him. It actually seems to have like caused a wound. And that'll bring us, unless do you have anything else?
I have an extra attack. So
okay,
a rifle, you have to reload, right? Or do I get 2 shots with it?
That's a good question. Dave, do you know offhand?
I think it holds up to like 5, unless you have an extended cartridge or something in it.
So I'm going to say you definitely have another shot.
Okay, then I'll shoot again. This time's a 25.
Yeah, that's definitely it.
For not as much damage. Only 8 points of magical damage this time. Magical piercing.
Okay, so he maybe is looking a little bit more broadly towards you, and this one pegs him in the chest, probably on the right side, and he is definitely taken aback by you're able to hit him. Pick.
Liking what he sees from Mercy over there, he's gonna follow suit and fire twice with his rifle. That's 121 and 111.
Were either of your shots magical?
That's a negative.
Then, unfortunately, as you're positive that these would take purchase to kind of dissipate his incorporeal form even further.
What in tarnation is going on?
Finally, Tika.
So Tika sets the brake on the cart and hops down with her battle axe, or her great axe in hand. But she calls out to the terrified person, "Come on, come on, get over here and hide you back here." And I set myself to be ready when it comes by, but I don't go any closer at the moment.
All right, that brings us back to the top of the round with Kyron.
So Karen's a bit confused because he saw two people fire rifles at this thing, and one of them hit and one of them didn't. And he's not very sure. He's not very sure what to do. Similarly to how I am right now. So I think he's going to probably speed up his horse to try to catch up to where the fellow that this ghostly figure was chasing. Just kind of run up to that person and see if he can get close to them.
Without a double movement, you are unable to.
Okay,
but
yeah. And could I make a dash action?
Absolutely.
All right, so that I will take the dash action, and I'll just and get there as much as I can. Just kind of circle around him.
And as you do, you hear the clanking of his manacles that were placed on him by Cletus. And he's like, please, you have to help me. He's going to kill me. He's going to kill me. He already killed them. And he points upwards on the trail. And he is going to turn and keep running towards Tika. And it's at this time, the ghostly figure, never stopping or wavering despite the pain, he actually is going to run through your blockade, Cletus. Do you have anything to stop incorporeal creatures from moving or anything of the such?
Well, I do have some magical items on me, which would include my my packed weapons. But that's not to say that they couldn't. The ghostly creature couldn't move through me and just avoid said magic items.
Fair enough. So there's a cold wind that blows through you, and you almost hear like the faint sounds of someone, wheezing or gurgling on their own fluids. It almost gets you into like a distant gaze without realizing it. You were so focused for 1 second, but as he passes through, your attention is hazy. And it's at this time that he catches up to this figure next to you, Karen, and pulling a large he's got like a large revolver that he pulls from a waist holster, and you see as he kind of opens up before you to pull this gun, you see that he's dressed rather plainly, like a nice button-up shirt, maybe a bolo tie. He's got a hard but distant gaze on his face. It almost looks like he's clenching his teeth. He has no irises. It's just kind of like a blank eye. And you see, whereas he was kind of a wisp of smoke before, he's a little more tangible right now. And he draws his weapon. Jesus. And he fires once, and it echoes through the trees. And where normally you would hear like the rustle of critters escaping the noise, it kind of echoes out, and your ears kind of ring with the sound because there's nothing there to interrupt it. And this figure that was just pleading for his life in front of you falls to the ground as a red pool expands beneath him. Cletus.
So he's not that far from me, right?
No, not at all. He's probably like 10, 15 feet.
I dare say that was a mistake. As I cast Lightning Lure and attempt to... he's within 15 feet of me?
Yes.
So I cast Lightning Lure and attempt to wrap this whip of lightning around this individual and striking. So pretty sure it's a to hit, but let me just double check. Okay, so it's a strength save. DC is 15.
You got a 14 on the die, and the strength modifier is +1, so 15.
Okay, so he is going to be pulled 5 feet up to within 5 feet of me. So that means he's going to probably fall off his horse, and he's going to take lightning damage from the whip. So that's a total of 8 points of lightning damage.
He
So
also,
as I move it around my head and then just lash it out, this crackling lightning just wraps around his midsection, and I would imagine that it probably connects because it is magical.
Yeah. There's actually, like, you see that as your weapon connects, it dissipates the ghastly smoke and apparition-y like mystique he had about him, and he's kind of like, you know, like the classic zombie skin. It's like a pale green. Like if he was in a black light, he'd probably glow. He's like almost like the oil shine on his armor, or like the metal on his hat and his bolo tie. He's just overall, he's ghostly looking, but you definitely connect.
Whip it back so that he basically comes forward. So I would imagine, up to you, but a dex check to see if he falls on the ground.
He was actually he rolled a 1, so he was preoccupied with, you know, his objective. And as this move connects, you do kind of just pull him right out of his saddle, and it's not like a large puff of smoke, but he kind of lands in the dirt of the trail and kicks up some dust.
Okay. So at this point, I'll use a bonus action to pull out my revolver, but I can't do anything else at this point.
Okay. Mercy, or Angel.
So the guy's down on the ground now, right?
Yes.
Is Chiron between me and that guy on the ground now?
Uh, no, he ran past, I believe. Yeah, he ran past her.
So he's about how far away now from? So we're talking like about 80 feet or so?
I would say about 80 feet.
Okay, so what Mercy's going to do is she's going to ride with her horse a little bit closer, and as she's doing that, she's going to resling the rifle and pull out one of her pistols so that she's going to have a better shot kind of straight down at it when she rides up close, so that she's not going to hit buddies in the way. Now, is he like, he's prone, right? So is that a disadvantage?
It would be disadvantage because he's on his back.
Oh, that's really bad for both of them. So that would be a 12.
12 does not hit.
Well, second attack, she will fire again with the, we'll try to with the pistol. Oh, that one's better. 28 to hit.
28 will definitely hit.
I got a 19 and a 20, so I couldn't even use the 20.
Rats.
All right, so this time, is he still got his revolver in his hand?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to add a superiority die to try and disarm him.
Okay.
So he gets to make a strength saving throw.
He's not very good at those. 15?
15 actually works. Yeah. That's the DC he needed. But he's going to take 8, 10, 14 points of piercing damage. That is magical.
So you see him kind of writhing in the binds that Dave has magically put upon him. And you make purchase again. This one taking him in the gut. Just by where his hand is kind of like held to, in my mind. Do you have anything else
I was just going to taunt him and say, get back to the hell realm that you came from, foul beast. And that's...
No, your lightning thing.
Oh, that dissipates right after I pull him off, and then the thing basically dissipates because it's a cantrip.
Okay, so I mean, maybe he was like reaching over his body, and you shot to disarm him, and it glanced by and landed in his gut. He is kind of writhing in the ground, but you see his face is still emotionless. It's like a still pool of water that that there's like some crazy monster lurking beneath the surface, but it's calm. Stoic. Pick.
Well, seems like I can't be doing much damage, and it seems like I got the situation handled. So, sorry, I kind of got confused like Dave there. Which one did he shackle then?
So, originally, Cletus threw some manacles, I believe, at
Yeah.
I threw it at the guy that was running away screaming for help.
Yeah.
At first, so my first impression was that you said that I thought I knew the guy chasing him, so I thought that it was best just to belay the situation, but it played out as it did. He's shackled, so he's probably moving at half speed.
No, that guy got shot, and he's dead. And then Cletus followed up with a magical attack that pulled him from the horse, which I thought also restrained him, but Dave enlightened me that it was not. So that guy is laying on the ground.
I want to go and check out the dead guy then.
Okay. I would say you're probably like within 80 feet of this guy, so it'd probably take a movement and a half, if you will.
So yeah, I just want to go and examine him and see if I can glean any information from him.
You can see that he is middle-aged, balding. He looks pretty like gaunt on his he looks almost like the wind could blow him over if it was stiff enough. You know, this guy, his eyes are kind of sunken into his head. You know, his gums are kind of like pulling away from his teeth.
Did it look like he had traveled far or not so far?
I mean, given just your vague knowledge of the area, that Dolmens is about 6 days away and you're about 5 away still. Or no, I'm sorry, it's 3 days away and you're 1 day, you're 2 days away still. So, I mean,
it looks like he came from Dolmens then. For
yeah.
Sure. Got it. Okay.
In terms of anything shiny, you don't see nothing except for the manacles that Cletus tossed.
Cool.
He looks rough. Tika.
Seeing the fleeing man go down, Tika starts heading that way to see how she can help and what she can do. She, because she's unarmored, she moves at 35 feet, but I assume it's going to take a couple to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like 80. Well, you had stayed back. So let's say you're probably in the back. So you're probably a full 90 away.
Yeah. So she'll just spend her round in movement.
Okay. And with that, we are back at the top of the round with Karen.
All right. So, and when I kind of move up there, am I still sort of within about 3 feet or so from this ghostly fellow?
Yeah, you're like probably in between
right
him
up
and Dave or Cletus right now.
Okay. Because what I would like to do is, if I can, jump off my horse. Does his horse also look incorporeal, or?
You see that like where this guy is like he's solid right now. The horse is still kind of like that, making that misty steam that comes off.
Okay. Because I think I'd just like to, against all better judgment, I just want to jump at him.
Give me an acrobatics or just straight dex.
Okay, gotcha. Ooh, 16.
So, actually, give me an animal handling check to follow that up as well.
Oh, man. Ooh, dirty 20.
So, okay. So as you kind of detach yourself from the saddle, as you jump, you realize that, you know, the canopy overhead is very, very close to your head, where you almost kind of jump into it. You, at the last second, you straighten up your trajectory here, and you're ready to grab into it, and you kind of pass through it and thump into the ground.
And I'm sort of like, and then I go face plant first, legs kind of kick up behind me.
Yeah, with a 16, like you're able to catch yourself before landing on your face.
I'll do a somersault forward and just kind of look around, make sure no one really. If anyone saw that, they don't really care.
Everyone is actually looking at you right now.
Everyone saw that. Okay. So
that brings us to the knight. I guess you would call him a knight. He gets up and he moves back towards his horse, ignoring you all. And you see that he's starting to fade. but that is his turn. So that brings us to Cletus.
So Cletus stares him down, and I'm going to fire a round in front of him from my packed weapon. And using my menacing feat, I am going to say, "You're not leaving so soon. We just got introduced." And that's going to be an intimidation. So I'm rolling against his insight with an intimidation check. So, yeah, that's going to be a total of 19 for me.
I got a 7 total.
So if he is intimidatable.
I think this is probably the first time that he actually acknowledged anyone among you. And you see that he's kind of like got his, his horse by the saddle, like he's about to mount as soon as he can. And he stops. And he turns back to you. And there's like probably even like a brief flashback between the two of you, as like there was like a moment in a saloon, in Gizzard Gulch or something, where you guys had like locked eyes for a minute. He was walking out as you were sitting down. And, it was kind of like a curtain nod, and then you went your separate ways. You're in a similar business. It wasn't anything more than that. This was like that memory. You could almost smell the cigar smoke that clung to the room in the bar. And he kind of just looks at you. You still get that vibe. This wasn't a murderer. This was, for all intents and purposes, a lawman.
What's your name, fella?
His lips, they're like almost a purple, like a faint purple, and you see that like the edges of them are turning white with the pressure that he's kind of like holding his mouth closed, and he doesn't speak.
So he's actually frightened until the end of his next turn from me. So,
for all intents and purposes, he was in the process of walking away from you. So,
yeah. Okay, so I would imagine my time's passed out at this point because I took an attack, and then my second attack was the menacing. So, next person.
Okay, that brings us to Angel.
So he's corporal now, but he's sickly green.
Yes.
Paste. Yeah.
He like there's an image of like it's like a grave white or something from the Fiend Folio in 3.5, and it's like this guy has like pale glowing green skin, and that's what I imagine this guy is like.
Yeah, so Mercy's going to take another shot at this guy, and now she's doing that. She's like, Cletus, don't be such a gump. I mean, this guy ain't real. He ain't live no more. I don't know why you tried talking to him. And she's going to shoot. Oh, that was so bad. 13 is what I got.
13 does not.
Okay, so what I'd like to do is use my bonus action to do a curving shot and have the bullet go for the horse. So I re-roll my attack on that.
Okay.
Oh, that's also a 13.
You're attacking the horse. It's a 13, so you hit it.
Okay. So it's going to take 12 points of magical piercing damage.
Jesus.
And then second shot, I'm going to try hit the guy again.
Okay.
Oh, that's a natural one.
So give me a D4. Your shot whizzes past this guy as he's kind of like trying to control the horse. You see like the horse is trying to run away, but he manages to kind of hold it in place as he's trying to get on. And with the commotion, your bullet whizzes by and nicks Cletus on the arm.
Dynamic Cletus, get out of the way.
That was excellent. You could actually have a point of inspiration.
And you can see him actually kind of holds his arm and he takes his hat off and he says, "Merci." He's kind of like puts his hat back on, kind of starts sidling his horse to the side.
Kind of imagine that as the first missed bullet that curved around, and I imagine it shoots through the horse and it doesn't hit, but then it misses and then it dodges right around Charon's head and he just ducks out of the way of the incoming bullet as it comes back at the horse.
You got Mercy slinging bullets. Go ahead and roll damage, Angel, and then have it. And that'll be what Cletus takes to the arm.
So it's a total of 12, so halved is 6.
Did I say halved? I meant double.
Then it's 24.
I'm just kidding. So Cletus, you take it. It's a wound that's cauterized shortly after it takes place. The heat coming off the magic and this ammunition is quite hot, and you actually kind of feel that it may have like done a little bit of nerve damage around the area just from the impact, but it's a graze, so no probably permanent damage. And that brings us to
So no damage with that, or
a total of 6 damage.
Okay.
Pick.
Well, first, gonna take out my flask and just take a little nip off. Whew. These ghosts are mighty frightening. Let me see here. So the creature is trying to mount and still run away?
Yes.
I'll hop off of Penelope and kind of dig my hands into the ground. And in doing so, I'll cast Spike Growth. So the ground in a 20-foot radius centered on a point within 150 feet becomes difficult terrain for the duration. So I'll try to center it, just about in the area where he's going.
Is that a dex? It's just difficult terrain.
Yeah.
Okay.
And any creature, and he saw what I was casting, so the creature knows that it's difficult terrain. And when the creature moves into or within the area, it takes 2d4 piercing damage for every 5 feet it travels.
Damn. Okay. Is there anything else you like to do?
Get back on Penelope.
Get back on Penelope. That brings us to Tika.
All right. Well, yeah, so should be approaching the group about now. Correct? Okay. So I look around. What in tarnation is going on here? And I'm gonna check on the guy on the ground, having missed everything going on and having no clue what his status is.
You see a gaunt man who probably at one time was of larger size. His hair was thinning. You can see that he's very emaciated. In a scarlet blob on the back of his tunic here. You know, the red. He got shot through the chest, and he's gone.
Is there anything familiar about him?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, it's not like a wanted criminal or.
Nope. He looks. You can see that he has like very calloused hands. A farmer, maybe labor of some kind. He's a dolmen man.
We were too late for you, sir. And that, so I just like head over to everybody else. I don't know if I'm probably I don't know. Am I close enough to do anything with this specter?
Probably not. No.
Yeah. So I'll just keep closing in on everybody else and
not without going into difficult terrain where you take damage.
Okay.
I would imagine.
Which I'm not going to do anyway. So yeah, I just turn and look at the group, look around at everybody. What is that? What is going on?
Right. This figure caught in the difficult terrain. You see his horse. Its legs aren't really touching the ground, so the horse doesn't seem to be in too much disarray, but this guy is still on the ground and he's still mildly corporeal. So Karen, it is your move.
Karen? Okay. That's going to be fun. Karen and Karen.
Well, I'll try to do my best to call Karen by her character name, Angel. So,
yeah, we put a lot of time in these character names. Would you please use them?
I'm trying. to use them.
Okay, yeah, Karen. So, Karen. And is he in the difficult terrain at this point?
Roll me a d4.
Oh boy. 4.
You are not.
Okay. So he would probably stand himself up and try to just move around kind of in a wide encirclement back to where everyone else is to just kind of look. But he's not really going to try to. He's going to keep his eyes on this specter fellow.
Okay. If that's all you want to do, I'll bring it to his turn. So, Pick, go ahead and roll me some damage since he is trying to move.
I believe it is 2d4 for every 5 feet. So how many feet is he trying to move in difficult terrain?
I'm gonna say you said this is a 20-foot circle.
Yeah, 20-foot radius.
Radius, okay.
And I wanted to put it like a little bit, the radius or the center, like kind of more towards where he was going rather than centering it at him.
Okay. So you see that like the horse kind of is dragging him along as you see like the dirt kicking up from this like jagged terrain. So go ahead. How many d4s you got in front of you?
I have 2, but I can search for some more. Now I have 4.
If you have 4, then that's...
Now I have 6.
Roll 6. That's all I need. Don't go too far.
Okay, let's see. That's 8, 10, 15 total.
So you see as like the gas... I lost one of my d4s. You see one of the legs of this ghostly figure kind of dragging across the ground as his steed's pulling him, and you know pieces of his boots are kind of like flaying off and starting to like evaporate. And you also see that like a congealed like black ooze is maybe leaking from the couple of the wounds on his upper body and starting on his legs. So he's definitely taking some damage. And that brings us back to... Well, that was his turn, if I'm not mistaken. And he is going to finish out his movement riding his horse to the edge of this difficult terrain. And that brings us to Cletus. And for all intents and purposes, he's riding away from you, so towards this guy and Tika.
Okay, so in order to go around it and sort of cut him off, so I guess the horse has enough movement for me to do that.
Yeah.
And so as I come around and cut him off, I kind of, holding my revolver in my right hand, I reach down with my left hand, and you see this black sort of tendril-like substance start to emerge from my fingertips and go into the ground, and encompasses a 10-foot square around him, and he needs to make a 15 strength save. Wait a minute. First, I'm going to cast a bonus action. Well, I can't do 2 spells in 1 round. Okay. So I'm going to do the black tendrils coming out, and you see these roiling tendrils start to try to come up and grasp the horse and him. And it's a 15 strength save.
He is having none of your shenanigans. He rolled a 19 on the die.
Okay. Both the horse and him?
I guess I didn't roll for the horse. Ooh, horse is not good, actually. I needed a 15.
Yeah.
Strength. Oh, yeah, the horse managed to succeed as well.
Okay. So on a success, you're going to take half damage, so they're going to take 5 points of necrotic damage as these tendril-like wisps are reaching up and batting at it. So, Arms of Hadar.
How much damage? 6?
5 points. Necrotic. Hopefully they're not immune to it.
They are not. I don't think. They aren't right now. This guy is like, you see that like the gaps in his his form are kind of like starting to fray at the edges, like almost like string from a sweater. You know, you see that this like misty essence is kind of just dissipating away from him, kind of drawing him away. Angel.
So this guy is leading on his horse, or trying to, right?
He's attempting to.
Yeah, she's not having any of that. So how far away is he about now?
Probably about
because he's
60.
actually coming towards her a little bit, though, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's even perfect. Okay, so she's going to shoot with her pistol at him again, twice.
You hear this voice kind of say, "Mind your aim, please."
Just don't get in my way. So the first one is going to be 25. But I'm going to use curving shot as my bonus action to redirect that towards the horse.
Give me damage for the first one first.
Okay. Woo. 15.
How do you take this guy from the saddle?
Yes. Does he land with a thump, or is it like a kind of a woof? Like,
I don't think he actually lands at all.
he just kind of disappears?
Maybe the fusion of the arcane energy coming from your weapon combined with his, pseudo form. You see like sparks and tendrils of your energy dissipate through his form and kind of like water through like fire. You see like his glow of his like ghastly form kind of just dampen out, and he becomes like a billow of mist as he disappears.
And as he does that, yeah, she's going to yell out, "Yeehaw! Now that's how you take care of him." And she looks at Cletus.
Yeah, Cletus. So you are out of initiative order.
Modifying shooting mercy.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Pick.
Mighty fine shooting there. Merci.
I hit what I aim for.
He goes walking over to the corpse of the fellow and retrieves the shackles, puts it in his pouch or his bag, and so he pretty much blew his head off. You're talking to mute.
Solid. Yeah, he didn't get shot in the head. He got shot in like the back.
Okay.
But you see like the large wound on the back. You can only imagine it exploded from there on the other side. If you want to roll him over and confirm that, you are more than welcome to. But
while he's looking at the body, Mercy's going to be spending time to actually reload both her rifle and her pistol so that they're fully loaded as they're riding away again.
Should mention that as you killed the guy, the horse disappears as well. That's not just hanging out.
And Karen, as he's walking over, he'd probably just keep looking at where the horse was. And then when he gets close enough, "Y'all ever seen anything like that before?" And I'm asking the group, but I'm also, is there some kind of check I can make? I mean, is it common to see just random undead soul of the damned riders riding through Caldera shooting people? Right. Or
no, not usually. Ghosts kind of hold the same weight as they do in normal life, I would imagine. Like, you know, people got ghost stories, but only a handful of them are even plausible, maybe not believable. So this is fine. Maybe, I mean, that's up to you. Have you seen a ghost before?
You know, if Karen's probably seen maybe some things that are more frightening than ghosts, but for whatever reason, he just is like, nah, ghosts aren't real. This couldn't have happened. So he's sort of in kind of ironically in disbelief of what's happened.
I ain't never seen anything like that.
I guess to confirm, there are like hoof prints and stuff on the ground from where his horse was riding, and like where he hit the ground from Cletus's whip attack. There also is kind of like an imprint from where he hit. So
yeah, the souls of the lost are known to still wander. Chiron, you should know this. You hear the Castilian tone or accent kind of coming out. He's somewhat lost it, but sometimes when he talks to you or calls you by name, you hear him pronouncing things in a Castilian sort of Spanish dialect. I mean, Charon.
Cletus, you know I got absolutely nothing but respect for you, but I gotta admit what you're telling me right now is straight bullshit.
Yeah, you're probably right. As he reaches up and pulls some little bit of the singe and flicks off some of the scab as he kind of eyes Angel out of the corner of his eye.
She gives you a wink as she turns to Chiron and says, "You done seeing that with your own eyes? I mean, what else is it? It was an unholy creature riding this way on that poor man."
Hey, I ain't denying it. I'm just saying that was some freaky shit, man.
How are we supposed to fight something like that? Some of that just went right through, and some of you hit it. What's the story there?
It's the holy fire. Gets him every time.
Holy.
How do I get me some of that holy fire?
And she looks you up and down. Well, mostly down. And
yeah, all 3.5 feet.
She just kind of, she doesn't answer you, and she just turns away.
Pick, do you have that?
Yeah, as far as I see it.
Do you have that pick with you?
Of course, I'm always carrying my pick, but as far as I see it, we know what happened to them folk down Dolmen. Now we can just go back, get ourselves a drink, be on our merry way.
Yeah, obviously. And that's where we're going to wrap tonight's session. No, I'm just kidding. Tika, you start to walk back towards your cart as this conversation peters out, and the rest of you kind of saunter your way up the path a little ways as Tika catches up. And as you bend the corner, go ahead.
Not to cut you off, but Cletus is actually he's kind of taking the body and he's moved it. He's picked it up and carried it off to the side, and he begins laying him out and sort of setting him straight, and then he looks to Pick expectantly.
I don't know if we've got time to bury this fine gentleman here. I mean, did you see that specter? I don't want to stick around for that. Just bless the poor soul and be on the way.
And I mean, I gotta admit, I'm not the most rememberful of names and faces and such, but do any of us really know who this one is? I mean, we really have that much of a stake in this? And this man's part in...
One hopes that...
we have to worry about him becoming one of those specter things.
That's a possibility.
Maybe.
What we got to do to make sure that don't happen. Maybe we burn him on a pyre. Look around.
Does anyone want to ride up around the corner, per se, but to ease time?
I'm going to say, yeah, Karen, even if they do bury the body, he's going to ride ahead a little bit.
Well,
he doesn't
it's
really care.
Right around the corner from where you've seen this guy run out from. You see probably 20 feet up the path, there is a cart with a guy also shot, like this guy probably was shot in the head. He's kind of laying in like the driver's seat of this. You see the donkey kind of munching on some grass, probably 40 feet behind that. And then you see a woman probably in between the donkey and the cart, laying face down in the dirt on the path. So there's 2 more bodies. So I just wanted to get that out there before you guys bury one body. Then it's like a whole another thing to bury 2 more.
Good point. Actually, Cletus is going to throw it over his horse then and, go on with Charon, but he thinks about it and he sees everyone moving, so he puts him over the horse and starts moving forward to follow.
So yeah, as you guys do reach this corner, there is there's a cart that this donkey was probably pulling. Like I said, the donkey's probably 40 feet behind that. And then in between the cart and the donkey is a 3rd body.
Is there anything in the cart?
You see that there's like bags of like half full bags of grain. You see, I mean, for the most part, it's kind of like this is like seeding corn, what they would plant the crops with. They're like half full bags. There's maybe like 3 of them.
We can put the bodies in there, have the donkey move them to wherever. Take it
I
back.
believe that'd only be right.
Look at you talking about what would only be right. Don't pretend. I saw you rifling through his pockets. You don't care enough about right.
He doesn't have any more use for it. He's on to another adventure. But we're still here in this hell. So you just wait, Peak. You'll have your day.
You notice, are you guys like checking these bodies as well? I would imagine. You notice that one of them, who's kind of like squirrel-esque, he's almost like woodchucky in appearance. Like this guy, if you looked at him, you'd be like, "Your fucking name is Chuck," because he's got some big front teeth. He's got bigger cheeks. You see that like he's not a fat guy. Like everyone amongst them is kind of gaunt and like their features are sunken in, but he's like retained a lot of like his face meat, I guess, and he's got a pocket full of acorns. Just something you find.
Yes.
If you want to give me a investigation check, maybe you find something else.
I would love to do that. Ooh, 19. Oh, actually, no. 22, because I have proficiency in investigation. Getting all my good rolls out of the way first.
As is tradition here on RWD. So Karen, sorry. You find a set of silver earrings on the chick. They're probably worth about 20 silver pieces.
And Karen kind of like, wow, not bad. And pockets them, possibly to sell, possibly for him to wear. But he'll decide later.
Perfect.
While everybody's checking bodies, Tika will grab the donkey and hook it back up to its cart or whatever, and make sure it's it's good to go, so that they can start moving bodies.
Give me an animal handling check.
Okay. Uh-oh. This could end badly. It's a 10.
That's all you needed. This donkey, you can tell, is used to being handled by humans or humanoids. Maybe not. There's halflings and dolmens. It follows your lead. You pull it to the cart, and it willingly lets you hook it up.
Nice.
And so while she's hooking up the donkey, I think Mercy would actually be pulling out those bags of grain or corn or whatever it was, and pulling them into Tika's cart so that they don't get tainted from the bodies.
Is there anything else anybody would like to do? And as you carry on with your journey,
I'd actually like to go up to the donkey, and if you'll excuse me for a moment, I'm going to use my warlock feature, Beast Speech, which allows me to cast Speak with Animals at will. And I would like to ask this donkey a few questions, if I can.
Yeah. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to.
Sweet. Okay. So, okay. Yeah.
It's
I guess
Donkey
not.
from Shrek.
Oh man, where do I begin? So I just, hey little buddy, what happened to your drivers here?
You see, he's like still chewing some grass. Seems like they died.
Yeah, you're damn right they did. Do you know how?
They
Or
kind of
why?
don't know.
I should have figured as much. Hey, do you think you could be a good friend, and could you take them back to town, back to the next and we're what was the town that we were coming from that's only a day away?
That was Wayword Gallows.
Wayward Gallows. Should you take these fellas to the next town? And I'm gonna kind of like take a little, if I can sort of like take one of my some extra little rations and just like put him in like a little tiny harness where he can like get a little bit extra nourishment and just sort of send him on his way with a little bit more direction than just slap him and let him go.
Well, I would imagine you might want to bring him with you. I guess
Oh,
that would be up for the group to decide. That's the inclination that I got.
yeah, I don't know where I didn't know exactly.
Lead him.
You okay with coming with us, little buddy?
Yeah, that sounds all right. Got any
All right.
got any of those rations?
Matter of fact, I do. Just give me a second. I'm going to rifle around. I've got kind of a long sort of outlaw duster on. I kind of rifle around in there. And just sort of grab something. Not a full day's ration, but just kind of give him a little something and scratch him behind the ears.
Yeah, that'll do.
And I kind of like, I give like a to the rest of the group. All right, he's coming with us just fine.
Great. Well, hook him up to the cart and let's get moving.
So, you guys carry forth on your trek. The journey, you had been riding for a full day already. You slept through the night and you had been riding, and that's when the horsemen attacked, and that was probably about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That was middle of the day. It's around this time that you know the sun's been down for probably about an hour. It's getting to be like 8 o'clock. You guys have pushed it a little bit farther, and at last there's a break in the forest. Ahead of you, you see a clearing occupied by a small farm. The fields lie idle. The barn looks like it's a good wind might knock it over. A wisp of smoke leads from the farmhouse chimney, and slivers of light through the shutters that indicate the place is still occupied. So what are you guys doing?
Be mighty fine to get a warm meal in our bellies.
I'll agree with that.
A warm meal's never a problem as long as you got old Tika around. But
That's true.
probably be courtesy to at least make sure they're okay with us bedding down here for the night.
So is the mission here just to approach the house?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this? I'm sorry. We're still not in Dolmens. We're still on the way, right?
This is like a small farmhouse.
Okay.
Where the forest is sort of broken up.
Yeah, I'd dismount from the saddlebags. I'm gonna grab my just like a little large walking stick with the top of the head is kind of carved into this hissing snake head, and I just kind of twirl it around and just kind of okay, ready to go. And I'm purposefully walking with a little bit of a limp that I very clearly was not walking with before.
Okay.
That's
Is
not going to be unsettling.
Is anybody else accompanying him?
Well, I have to say that Tika is, well, she's just right straight with talking to strangers. At least I know her ancestors are.
Yeah, she's pretty friendly, so she will definitely tag along with Karen.
We're all struggling with it.
Yeah.
So as you guys approach, you hear like the clanking of, I guess there's porcelain dishes in this time period. You hear like the soft banter between an older man and a younger girl. This is kind of distinct as like the house isn't that far away. As you're kind of walking up the trail, you see that the plows or the land on either side of this house hasn't been plowed. And like there's actually like a plow sitting out in the field with like what appears to be like a skeleton next to it. But you are able to approach the house.
So I see the skeleton, or what looks like a skeleton, and I kind of like pull my coat collar over a little bit. I kind of whisper down in there and I say, hey, keep a little extra watch out, will ya? And nobody really sees what I'm talking to quite yet, but
Okay. Are you knocking on the door?
I am, and I'm waiting for Teak to be up with me. So
Yeah, she actually can keep up with you easily because she's not wearing any armor.
So I know this guy's voice is going to give me a hard time. So I'm going to grab a cup of water real quick. I'll be right back.
Cool. Actually, I'm going to take a quick then too. I need to feed my cat.
Baron, do you want to take a quick break? He walked away. Baron, do you want to take a quick break?
Yeah, if that's what you guys want to do. I was just going to grab a cup of water because this guy's voice is crotchety old man. But if you guys
Nice.
$5
We're used to that from you, though.
I like how Philip's thing flashed right above it before. Okay. Yeah, we could take a $5. That's cool. We can meet back here at 10-2. If that works for you guys. I want to take a second to thank anybody that watches this video in the future. I have not yet had the opportunity to run a Caldera game, and hopefully we start to get into some more of the cowboy elements and Western themes that I've kind of tried to incorporate in this game tonight. So thank you to Jeremy Lilley of the AbTab group for coming up with this badass setting. If only we could get him to, put this into a mass market format and sell it to us. So we will be back in about 9 minutes and back to the fun.
Hey, Chris.
Sorry, I just realized I was still muted. Sorry. Hey. Oh, shoot. There we go.
Oh, man. I'm having a lot of fun.
Me too.
This is super cool.
Whoops. Having a heck of a time here. Can't seem to type today.
How was Dave able to get an overlay?
I was wondering the same thing.
He's probably using.
I still,
Yeah, I think he's using XSplit. Yeah.
because I'm still Google Hangout Toolbox is still not working for me.
Right.
Yeah, it's OBS.
Okay.
How do you do that as the as a player?
You just, when you log in, you have to have your virtual cam turned on in OBS. But if you go up to the cog under settings, if your virtual camera is installed and turned on when you launch Hangouts, you can choose OBS camera from the dropdown, and then it'll display. Yeah, I used Sam's video that he had a while back, and I had to fiddle with it a little more. I've noticed he's made another one since then, but
Yeah, I think his are more from the production side as the GM. I don't know if he's done any on the player side of like, here's how you can do it for just yourself. So I don't know if I have the virtual cam on my OBS. I don't know if my internet would support it anyway, but that's pretty cool.
it's just an add-on for OBS. So as long as your computer can handle OBS, then you could probably handle the virtual cam just fine. You just do a Google search for OBS virtual cam, and you can get the add-on.
I'll have to try that one of these days.
All right, are we ready?
See,
Yes, sir.
So, Tika and Karen, you knock on the door, and you hear like a slight shuffle of, dishes, and they don't have china, of wooden bowls on tables, and like the chair against the ground. Yeah, who is it? Who's there?
If you'd be so kind, sir, myself, my name is Chiron, and I have my lovely associate here, Tika, and we got a couple of other traveling mates. We're on a route to Dolmens, and we were wondering if you would be so kind as to offer us a place to rest our poor tired heads for the night.
Give me a persuasion.
Oh shit, I'm not good at those.
Before I have you do that, Tika, do you want to say anything? Would you like to aid in any way?
I would very much like to aid. Yeah, we don't mean no trouble or anything. We'd just be in and out of your hair, nothing flat.
Are you using the help action, or do you want to roll separately?
That's a good question. My persuasion's pretty good, so
roll separately.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
My charisma just not
terribly.
Ooh. Okay. 12.
I got a whopping 9.
So you hear like the slide of a Western equivalent of a deadbolt, and the light kind of beams from this crack as he opens the door, and you see like the long wispy white beard. He's got like really bushy eyebrows, big nose, red from alcohol abuse. Kind of a hunchback guy. He's probably about halfway in between the height of Tika and Kyron. So you see that he's missing some teeth. Just the two of you out there in the dock?
No, actually, there's 5 of us.
5. And he yeah, come on, come out of the darkness. Quickly, like we don't want the horseman coming around. He causing trouble. Get him, come on. And he shuts the door.
Okay, and I kind of like motion for everyone to come up, and maybe like a stay your weapons motion.
Well, would you look at that? Kindly soul in the middle of this hellscape, he'll say, winking over at Cletus.
Peek, get off your damn ass. As he's sliding off his mount, he's like, get off your horse or your donkey.
It's a mule.
You'd be less intimidating. You didn't even brush your beard.
Pick will go and kind of like tie up all the pack animals and stuff, stable them if he can in the barn that's about to be blown over.
Well, I wouldn't go stick your stuff in someone's barn until you've talked to them about it yet. But right outside the house isn't a bad spot.
Okay, yeah, that's where I'll. Well, yeah, all right.
Hey, we already put our stuff in your barn. That's cool, right?
Tika will set her team up with some feed bags and make sure they're as good to go as they can be while they're still hitched up.
Well, it's at this time that the couple of you have walked by, and you see, you all see this kind of skeleton next to the plow in the fields. It's like in between your path that you were on and this house. So
feels like somebody just walked over a grave every time I look at that thing.
But you all manage to approach the house, and he opens the door, and inside it's a very quaint little cabin. You see it's maybe 3 rooms. As you approach, you see there's like an outhouse position in between the barn and the house. This room is sparsely furnished. There's like a small kitchen area, and there's like a fire. You can see that they have like a cast iron skillet, or a skillet, and like a pan or cooking pot sitting on top of it. You see that it's a larger table, but there's 2 chairs next to it. You see him kind of with you see him like putting the pitchfork next to the door as you guys kind of open it, and or he opens it, showing you this room. And on the far side, you see a younger girl. She's probably in her early 20s, maybe late teens. She's fairly pretty. She's got deep auburn hair. Her features are almost lupine in nature. She's very slender, very, she's not curvy, I guess, but she's pretty. You can tell that they haven't been eating, so that's maybe a factor in just their presence. They're kind of skittery esque. You can see they also have like the bags under their eyes. They're kind of gaunt on their frame. Well, come on, get in out of the darkness. The horseman's out. The horseman. He kind of mutters off, and well, go on now, Tanasha. Why don't you fetch some extra dishes, and we'll get these fine folks some food.
I couldn't help but notice that you've got like to be blunt, a skeleton sitting out on your tractor. What's up with that?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm getting on in years, and what's putting off plowing a couple days? That ain't no biggie.
You
you
think
might.
a dead body's going to plow for you?
Oh,
Mercy.
Why?
Please.
It's an honest question.
and
You're sleeping in the barn tonight.
oh, right. You probably have some livestock you would like to. You can go put them in the barn.
Yeah, we got some dead out there too.
Dead. Well, I really. You can put them in the barn. Try not to bring them up to the house.
Thank you for your hospitality, sir.
And he looks, at the mention of dead, he looks at Tanasha, who kind of like gets a grim look on her face, and that's what he says. Best put him in the barn.
And there's some trouble on the road.
Trouble? What do you mean trouble?
Some unfortunate. Maybe you could come with us and see if you might recognize any of the three we found.
He kind of like takes off his hat. Oh, if you say three, I can only imagine. You probably stumbled into Brock, Gerard, and Misha. Oh, bless be their souls. Well, what happened?
He looks over at Mercy because she's so forthcoming with all the information so far.
And just as you're looking over, she's about to go into it. Some unholy rider was attacking these fine folk and running them down, and we got there a little bit too late, but took care of this creature.
Oh, that sounds like the horseman, all right. I told him to mind their own business. Just mind your own. But enough of this talk of ghosts and goalies. Let's sit down and have something to eat. No, Tanasha, dear, please. And she's already got the bowl set at the table. We don't have much, but we're willing to share.
Well, absolutely. In exchange for this wonderful hospitality you've given us, we'd be absolutely more than willing to share some of the things we have as well. In celebration of this fine meal and reconnection of perhaps people who might not otherwise talk to each other. And I kind of like...
I could rustle up a couple additional fiddles, and we could have a right feast with what you got here.
Well, please, help yourself to the skillet.
Tika bustles out and grabs some things from the chuck wagon and comes back and busies herself. I don't know what do they have? Maybe adding a stew or something to what they've got there. She doesn't.
You look in the pot and you see that it's like a watery gruel. Looking around at like the ingredients around you, you see that there's like a couple bags of corn, maybe a little bit of meal. There's not a lot here. You can tell that they've been rationing. So there isn't a whole lot to work with on their end.
All right, so she'll grab some venison or whatever's on the chuck wagon and rustle up a simple stew or something to add to what they've got, and bread from earlier that day.
Oh, thank you. You're so kind. Tanasha, dear, please, be courteous. And she kind of like quietly like, thank you. And they are doing their best to be as hospitable as possible.
While Tika is making this meal for them, Mercy's actually going to go deal with the dead body wagon and put it in the barn like they said.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to do that as well, lay them out, and at least for the time being.
Yeah.
As you're walking out, Cletus, you see that this Tanasha girl is kind of been watching, like, not. She's watching you.
Mercy will give him a huge elbow in the side. Don't even think it.
Thought it. It's already been thought.
As he clutches his tarnished emblem of lose, which is actually kind of broken. You think poorly of me.
Get down right, I do.
Well, after our last meeting, I would imagine that things were left a little, well, open-ended.
Close on my end.
Well, be that as it may, I never meant no harm. I told you beforehand that, well, I gave you warnings. But
Words are one thing, actions speak louder.
well, I told you to draw, and I was talking about cards.
Of course you were. You always been cheating at them. And with that, she kind of turns and stomps away,
And he
knowing that she
holds
was
his
actually
chest for a second, like she doesn't even see it. Like, you wound me.
only when I want to.
That's for sure.
As you brush the scab off your arm.
Right.
So the two of you walk outside to put the horses away. Tika, you're cooking food. Pick and Kyron. Is there anything in particular you're doing here?
So, this daughter, you said she had kind of lupine features, and Charon has spent a lot of time around, just kind of wandering around, especially kind of mingling around with Durathian folk, and so would he recognize her and maybe like this older fellow as such?
You would. The guy, he has introduced himself in between. His name's Old Tarby. He just
Tarby.
He literally says, "My name's Old Tarby," which is Tarbee. He does not look Durathian at all. He's kind of the more Eastern complexion. You can tell that he's probably not Caecilian, but the other one.
Okay.
Somewhere in his lineage. You can tell that she is probably not even half. She's maybe like a quarter or less. For the most part, she's very like, European features where there is just like the slight roundness to them that would give the Durathian inflection.
Okay.
Or angular, rather, not round.
So as I imagine, Chiron is maybe like sort of half helping Tika prepare some of the food with this, but he's also he sort of like maybe like offhandedly says something in Sylvan, just sort of like a thing himself, and he just wants to see if that garners a reaction out of the old man.
No, out of neither of them. You don't. They're kind of, you see, like, it's probably around this time that Tanasha has sat herself back down at the table and is talking with Tarby as two of your party members went outside. You're helping. They don't seem to give any recognition to the phrase.
Okay. And he kind of shrugs and goes back to pretending to help Tika cook.
Pick will approach old Tarby sitting at the table and offer him some chewing tobacco.
You see his eyes like actually light up. He's like, "Oh man, we've been out of the stock of that for a minute." And he takes a decent pinch and puts it in. You see him kind of like savoring the spit for a bit before he spits into his spittoon, which is kind of like off to the side.
Yes, sir. That's the finest cut you can get in Wayword Gallows.
So I take it that's where you're all from, the Gallows. Well, I haven't been there in years. Like I said, mind your own, mind your business. Those folk had no business going out there.
Yes,
Stayed
that's. Yes, I like to keep to my own usually also, but we've heard there's been some trouble down in Dolmens, so gotta go check it out. You notice anything coming by? I mean, you're so close to the road here.
Well, you see, we tend not to stray too far from the farm, my daughter and I. And, you see that he's kind of like dominating their presence here at the table. She's kind of quiet and reserved. I heard them going by, but, I told Tanasha, girl, you better get inside. You don't want no business with them. They got nothing but trouble ahead for them.
Yeah, well, you're right. I suppose a daughter's always got to mind the wisdom of her father.
That's right. Now, you seem like a pretty smart fellow there. We don't get too many dwarves in these parts, but, you got looks about the room. If I had any advice for you, I'd turn around the way you came. Those folks down in Dolmen, they'll get what's coming to them. That's all what they deserve. And you see, like, the daughter kind of like elbow him and give him a sidelong look, and then kind of look to you to like, don't press the question any further.
Well, thank you for your hospitality, sir. And here, why don't you take yourself an extra little dip, and they'll offer the pouch, as he like gets up from the table.
And it's probably around this time that Angel and Cletus get back, and Tika's finishing up some sort of stew. And the 7 of you sit down to eat some victuals. After a little bit of eating and the casual questioning that he's kind of directing towards the same answer of they should have mind their own, or I mind my own, or some variation of the phrase, he stands up after finishing his meal and, well, I gotta say it's mighty late. I'm gonna go bed down for the night. If you take that staircase there behind the wall, you will find that there is an attic upstairs that you guys should spatially find enough room to bed down for the evening. Tanasha, dear, you set them up with anything they need, and I'm gonna go to bed. He gets up and heads to his room.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
His door closes.
Cletus leans over and he says, I think we should be watching tonight.
I can do that.
And it's, Tanasha comes out and she's got some extra blankets or, feather pillows. Well, I gotta say, it's a good thing that you guys are here. We need all the help we can get. My father don't like to talk about it none, but things are not looking too good down in Dolmens.
How so?
And having you pipe up, she kind of comes close and grabs your arm. We see that with the rider out, we can't get no food back to town, and he's getting bold these days. He's killing people in the fields. If you've seen our poor mule who's pulling the plow, those evil the Durathians, they shot him. They shot our mule, and with the horsemen, the Durathians, and she's like, "Oh, won't you help us, please?"
Horsemen? What kind of horsemen are you talking about?
The natives, the Durathians, they They come in from the woodlands and terrorize the town folk.
Interesting. What tribe is close to here?
It's not one you've heard of. You know that down here in the deeper woods, there's like secluded sects of tribes. These are known as the Grugach clan tribe.
Okay. Are they an offshoot of the Anapaho or the Shondo?
The Anapaho. Sure.
Okay. Well, that's not good at all because they are known to do very evil things to people, ingesting them. I've already said too much as he's looking down at her.
Well, you certainly are a deliverance, thank lose. I don't know why they're attacking the people. I don't know who this horseman is that's been terrorizing the vicinity either. But I do know who knows. Down in Dolmens, there's a Dyson figure. He kind of he helps the elder of the town run things. He's a wise fellow. You know, he should know. He knows a lot. Probably not as much as you though. Kind of looking at you with a endearing gaze.
I don't know a whole lot. That has been reaffirmed on many occasions.
Yeah, what's Angel doing in this?
She's smirking right now. And she was about to say something, and when he said, "I don't know too much," and she kind of held her tongue and kind of snickered under her breath.
Charon maybe is sort of like not necessarily reading the mood properly in the room. Say, well, then Dolmens is in luck because the resident liaison expert with Durathian matters is coming to town, shall we say. And he kind of like leans back and crosses his arms behind his back.
Mercy looks at you. Are you meaning yourself? I just need to make this clear.
She's not a smart woman either.
And then he kind of looks, and he looks, and he's about to say something like, he's about to say something like sarcastic, and then he sort of realizes who he's talking to, and he says, maybe.
What, he kind of leans down and he says, your features, you appear to have some Durathian in you.
Well, you see, we didn't always have such bad relations with the Grugach. You know, there's a lot of forest, and there's a lot of room for all of us. This was long before my time, but I think it was my mother's mother or something. I'm not entirely sure. Daddy doesn't talk about it too much.
Well, we all have a history. Right, Pick?
Well, we certainly do.
And
I think we just about questioned you enough before he's kind of looking around at everybody.
Well, before you go, what was the name of this gentleman you said might know stuff in Dolmens?
Oh, Sheriff Dyson. He Dyson. He helps him with the matters of the elder and running the town down at Dolmens. He's a swell fella.
All right, we shall make our acquaintance with him.
And as you kind of, I would imagine, disperse to go to bed for the evening. She looks one more time to Cletus. Please, take me with you. Don't leave me here. The rider, the Garnash. There's so many evils in the woods.
So Mercy was about to take a drink of her flask when this poor girl said, "Take me with you," and she literally spit it out. And looked to Cletus like, "Oh, this one's on you."
Yeah, the road I walk is not the best for young ladies such as yourself. You've got a better life ahead of you. Just wait. As he reaches down, he picks up a biscuit and starts eating it. I'm so hungry. I'm going to go outside for a walk.
I'm gonna leave, actually. So she kind of looks down and she goes to her room and closes the door.
Yeah, I think that it would be best if we held some sort of watch. So, who are the spellcasters? Me and
I can do that. Yeah.
So we should probably do first and last, right? Because unless there's other spellcasters, so that we can.
Well, who are we watching against? Them or stuff out there?
Stuff out there.
And Cletus.
And Cletus.
So I'm gonna. I would like to. So I can. I think I can take first watch if that's fine with you, Lon.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just gonna have a smoke and eat a couple biscuits.
All right. And I'm gonna say, and I'm just gonna kind of prop myself up on one of the bale or just whatever relatively soft thing is in this attic, and I'm going to reach into my coat pocket and pull out this diamondback rattlesnake and sort of just drop it in my lap, and it looks up at me. I say, Samantha, darling, I need you to do me a solid favor. Could you look around the house for a little bit and do try to keep to the shadows and don't get yourself seen, especially not by Cletus. You know what happened last time. Don't want to.
Snake in his boot.
Just avoid him at all costs. In fact, if you see him, just turn around and go the other way. He's got it covered.
So you're having Samantha patrol the house.
Yeah, I'm having Samantha patrol the house, and I'm also going to kind of keep like a watch, maybe around out the window, and also just kind of at the door, like. But I'm a stationary watch.
So, are you having Samantha search for anything, or is she just keep
just
watch?
I want her to look around and just patrol, and if she sees anything
interesting,
if she sees anything scary, I want her to come back to me, and she'll probably rattle, and I can be speech and talk to her properly. Okay. Actually, I'm pretty sure I have telepathy with her, but I don't know.
So yeah, she kind of slinks down the steps and disappears into the darkness. Cletus is outside smoking a cigarette. Are the rest of you guys going upstairs, go to bed?
Yeah. I look at Mercy and pick. I thinking maybe we leave them that seed and donkey from those poor folk that lost their lives earlier. Maybe they can use that to plant. I have a feeling they've got nothing to plant in that field.
Tika, you a mind reader. I was thinking the exact same thing. Besides, their mule just died.
Yeah, they sure use it, and we don't need the extra burden, really.
That's fine with me as long as we can leave the bodies too. That's a good idea.
All right. Well, let's hope that they have a way to dispose of the bodies here.
Pile it next to the plow, as far as I can tell.
Oh, looks like it, doesn't it? Ugh, kind of grisly. Of course, if we want them to use that plow, maybe putting them somewhere else might not be a bad idea.
Right, well, as long as it's their problem, that's fine.
Agreed.
Peck, you're so admirable. Okay, so Cletus, you come back inside from your cigarette. The fire is dying down, so you toss a couple logs on, and you are able to lay down. For those of you keeping watch, so Samantha and Kyron, the house is quiet besides the standard creaks of kind of this old farmhouse that's out here in the woods. You notice, there's nothing really odd about this house. You see there's a cellar. Samantha can't really get down there, but it's not like a big draw door cellar. It's like you have to remove a panel and it's under the house. Her snake senses, I guess, don't really come up with anything like foul play or anything. For the most part, this seems to be a standard house. In your brief look over of things, you can see that, they have maybe 2 half bags of food. They don't really have a whole lot going for them. You can see that there's probably like some steel implements for various, things around the house that are probably a lot worse for wear. But other than that, there's not really anything of interest. And you guys are awake, crack of dawn.
Yeah. Cletus goes out to the barn and early and takes the opportunity to actually pray and give his ministrations and clean up the wound on his arm, which is actually showing a little bit of a green glow around it, around his sunken skin, because most people can't see it, but his features are kind of, his body itself, if you've seen it, is somewhat sunken, like he's close to starvation. So it's a feature of it's a gift from his patron, but most people he doesn't allow to see that because he's wearing like a coat and a hat and so on. So but he still can't feel the pain because history of damage in the prisons, and as such, there are also scars that mark his back and so on. But he takes that time to pray and commune, if you will.
And you're absolutely able to do so.
Tika just takes over the kitchen first thing and, makes a nice breakfast for everybody. And lets the rest of the group deal with the corn and the donkey and stuff with the family and the bodies.
And you speak with Tarby, and he's like, "Well, that's a mighty fine gesture, I do reckon, but I have to assume that donkey belongs to the town, and Dolmens, I'm not sure who. I have to believe they were taking that feed for money to buy food. So I don't know if it would be right for me and Tanasha here to take it. But we'll get by. And he kind of looks to the house where she's helping you make breakfast, and he kind of, we'll get by.
Why would it belong to the? Were they employed by the city to do that, or?
No, you see, they were all humble folk from Dolmens themselves. I imagine. I haven't been there in some time, but if their luck plowing has been any better than mine, it's probably still not very well. And you know, they got a lot more mouths to feed there in Dolmens, so I imagine that they were taking that food to town or to Wayword Gallows to sell it off to get some extra coin.
So I guess we reckon we ought to just return it to the town then and let them figure it out from there.
I reckon that's best.
All right, sir. Well, I wish we could do more to help you.
No, we're strong folk. We're hardy in nature. We'll be all right. Isn't that right, Tanasha dear? She's kind of still like got that down expression since getting shot down by Cletus last night. She kind of just nods. Cletus, she hasn't said anything to you all morning. She hasn't even looked at you.
I'm used to that.
Perfect.
Well, when was the last time you went to Dolmens?
Oh, it's been about, I don't know, 5-6 months maybe.
And it's a day's walk from here, ride?
Give or take. Yeah, about a day.
What's holding you here? If you came with us and then just...
He kind of like peers out the curtain across the field. Well, I don't know if you've noticed, but I haven't so much as walked halfway out into the field, let alone all the way to Dolmens. I think it'd be best if we just minded our own.
Suit yourself.
You see, like, Tanasha also kind of like gets hopeful and then down again.
You see, you've got... Out of character, how much food did they have left?
About 2 half sacks, one of some corn and some meal.
So they're looking at what?
Probably a month, maybe 2.
So you've got a month or two's left of food. You're not going to be able to plow that field alone. Now, I'm not questioning the strength of your back, sir, but I'm just trying to speak with reason that it might be best if you just came with us. I wouldn't mind offering up what we've all offered and out of my own pocket. I can afford that. Not speaking boastfully or anything, but...
And, and he's kind of like firmed up in his voice. I'm not mistaking that kindness for weakness, but reason isn't something that gets spoken a whole lot of these days. I think you guys should probably leave. Tanasha, dear, please. And she kind of backs up from what she's doing and excuses herself and tends to some chores or something.
Well, I thank you for your kindness and your hospitality and blessings upon your house and your daughter.
Thank you.
And as I'm walking out, I'm going to leave like a couple gold crowns underneath the, like as I'm walking by the table, as I'm walking out, just brush by it. And I don't know if you want me to roll deception or not, or sleight of hand, but I'm going to leave.
You can, if you want to make it sneaky.
Yeah. So that's a 21. I'm going to leave 10 gold.
Okay. He's kind of, distracted, picking up the plates or cleaning up whatever dishes. So he doesn't really notice. And actually, before you guys all leave, he kind of walks into the other room for a minute, and Tanasha comes up and, I'm sorry. He gets like this sometimes. You don't got far to go. I don't know, about a half day's travel, you'll come across the old chapel. You'll recognize it when you see it. And it's only about another half day from there. The chapel represents the outskirts of Dolmens. The farthest structure still considered within the city or the town. Be safe. And she turns to walk away. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to grab a water.
I'm going to hit the restroom real quick.
Is that... I kind of like turn to the rest of the party. Is that donkey? Is it helping us a lot, or is it just dragging behind?
Well, from what Tarby said, that donkey belongs to Dolmens. So we sure don't need the donkey, but he felt pretty strongly that we return it and the seed that we found to the town. So I don't reckon we ought to do anything else with that donkey.
Do we think he really needs it? Because I personally think he really needs it, and I personally think he really should take it. Does anyone have any objections to me persuading the man?
I think it would benefit him quite a bit, but he seemed pretty set. It's worth a shot, I guess, as long as you don't... I don't know.
It ain't right to change a man's will. Just let him be. If he wants to wither and die here with him and his daughter, let him.
You just kill all the fun, don't you, Pete? And, yeah, okay. And he just kind of, his shoulders drop. Come on, Samantha. And Samantha kind of coils around his leg and up back into his coat. And he's brought his snake walking stick.
So when Tanasha comes up and she's talking to them afterwards, Mercy's going to actually pull out a little satchel from her pouch where she's got the trail rations that she's got. So she's got some extra ones. So she's going to leave some behind. She's going to give them to Tanasha. So it's not much, but maybe you can eat well for a couple of days.
She clutches the satchel like real close to her chest. Thank you.
Don't tell your father where it came from.
No, absolutely not. Thank you so much. Everything helps. And you guys saddle up and carry forth. Everyone can take a point of inspiration for that. That was a lot of RP, so you all did very well. Except you, Dave. So, the forest is still pretty tight on both sides of the trail. You notice that there are some like deeper wagon marks that have been made in this part of the trail. but the silence coming from the forest is almost like oppressive. You know, it's stifling. It's like you almost feel it. You speak and you lose your voice to the silence of the woods. And so you carry on for a few hours. You know, the sun doesn't really make an appearance until it's directly above you about midday, where it starts to break through the canopy. And just when you thought, like, man, I cannot go any further, there's a break after a bend in the trail. And as you can see, that there's still trees that dot the landscape, but they're much less tightly packed together. And off sitting to the west of this trail, you are all traveling north at this point, having traveled west and kind of turned north. This is sitting off to the western side. It is a stone wall, kind of literally built from stone stacked on top of each other. And then inside that is kind of a really wide, circular, like monolithic structure. It's also made of stacked stones, but a lot of them are a lot bigger. You can see that like the roof of this building is literally like only 7 feet tall, but it encompasses probably about 20 feet in diameter. And up the trail a ways is Dolmens.
So the wall is meant to be some sort of protective structure for Dolmens, or was
No,
it's this
you,
was the church that she was talking about.
You can see like within the wall there's like graves, some of them old as fuck that have like chipped stones, and then there's some that are within the last couple months. That is up to you if you still have the dead bodies.
Well, he acted like he wanted none of it, right?
Yeah, he really wanted nothing to do with any of it.
So we probably still have them.
So maybe we still have them. Maybe so they can ID them and stuff.
So as you start to mosey closer to the church, you hear like almost an indistinct babble. It's loud enough that you can hear it, but not loud enough that you can make out what it said. It's obviously coming from the church, which you notice there's like some flickering flame light coming from within. Maybe like some shadows passing in front of holes in the walls. But you're not close enough to tell what is being said.
And
But this
Mercy
is, well, this
sorry.
is, yeah, one more thing. This is by no means like intersecting your path to Dolmens.
I think Mercy would turn and look to Pick and Kayron and I'm losing all the names and that guy who Cletus, that's the one.
That motherfucker.
Exactly. Got me so angry I forgot your name. So now that's the chapel that young woman was talking about. I'm thinking I really don't want to be carrying these bodies around no more. Maybe we should let them have their final rest, so to speak.
This is a chapel to lose.
From the outside, you can't tell.
Can I get a religion just to see if I know?
Absolutely.
Maybe a 21.
You see some of the older ones.
I'm sorry, that's a 19.
Even so, you see some of the older markers that have been chipped away. They almost have like you've heard some people call it like an early Durathian script, but in your experience with the Durathians, they don't have like a written language, to my knowledge. This is like something that would be hushed up. These are old. Okay, well, they do not have. It's not written in Durathian, from what you can tell, if any one of you reads or writes. And you can tell that, yeah, even like the newer ones, they're kind of nondescript to a religion. But maybe there are some similarities in the chant that she's saying, like a hymn you may have heard.
I'm going to say this every single time. Karen has spent a lot of time around Durathians. Would he recognize this by any?
This isn't even something that like the Durathians are.
This is just some weird chanting.
Yeah, this is like some esoteric, like culty, wild shit.
Okay, this is the part in the book where there's just a spreadsheet of Chiron doing this, and it says, Chiron was curious. And he's gonna... Now, before you shut me down and tell me I should mind my damn business, I think there might be a couple of benefits to checking out that chapel there. And, I mean, of course, we could probably lay all those unfortunate people to rest that we had picked up earlier. And we might find some leads from these disturbances or such that young Miss Tanasha was warning us about.
Might be best for us to shut our mouths and mind our own business. My experience with the cults of Caldera, well, they're cults, right? He's kind of looking to you for recognition.
Well, yeah, but they ain't all bad.
Well, I'll give you that much. They may be followers of Alistair. Let's go take a look.
Thank you.
As he slides down off his mount and begins walking up there.
So
we don't even necessarily need to do that. If you just hold on to my shoulders for a second, I'm just the less questions you ask, the better this will be. And if I want to use my
Sorry, I'm having a bad flashbacks.
So I want to use my Pact of the Chain thing. So I want to send Samantha towards this church. And I want to perceive through her senses. So I want to be able to hear what she hears and see and smell what she smells. But in exchange, I'm going to be deaf and blind for the duration of this. So that's why I don't really want to be running around in the dark. So
okay. So as you come up to this building, you're able to tell that it's about 12 feet tall and about 33 feet wide. As you kind of approach the door, you see that there is no actual door. It kind of like goes in for maybe about 6 feet on this side, and it opens up into a circular room that's kind of sparsely furnished. Maybe a table. You see that there's a fire, a small one on one side. And kind of arrayed around the mantelpiece is various deities that have come to the area. There is one of Luz, one of kind of like a Durathian, like pantheon. The standards of like hope and nature and stuff. There's also a couple that you've never seen. Actually, religion check. You've never seen. You've definitely never seen them. And their inside is a woman and a critter on her shoulder. The woman is in tattered robes, moving from kind of like each shrine around the mantle, pausing briefly to bow before each one, moving on to the next. There's like a small monkey-like thing on her shoulder. It's like a cross between a monkey and a squirrel. Sometimes it mimics her gestures. Sometimes it just kind of squeaks along with the prayers, but they haven't noticed you. She's kind of mumbling endlessly.
I'd probably tell Samantha to come back, and then I'd probably shift out of my blindness and away from her sights and say, "There's a interesting woman in rags there, doing a bit of chanting. Luckily didn't seem to notice Samantha. Bit unsettling. I didn't. There's also seemed to be an whole splattering on of divine entities painted on that there chapel. I don't think this is necessarily one specific devotion, and it's probably also old."
Interesting. Shall we?
Well, I don't know. I think I've had enough of the supernatural stuff for me for one weekend. Why don't we just continue on moving down and talk to the townsfolk? Do we have to go in the?
Do we have to go to the spooky chapel?
You want to keep the bodies?
Well, it doesn't sound like these folks are gonna do right by them. So maybe taking them on to town is the best thing.
Mercy just shakes her head and starts moseying on.
Which way are you going into the chapel? With the...
Oh yeah, which plan?
Down the road towards Dolmens.
Well, I guess the wish of the party is laid bare.
Fair enough. And with that, you kind of, not kind of. Samantha rejoins with you, Kyron, and you mount up and head towards Dolmens. The second half of the day is a lot easier, where the trail has been really close up on you. It's pushed back, it's sparsed up, there's a breeze. You're able to enjoy the sunshine while you have it for the latter part of the day. And just past the stone chapel, the road improves, obviously. As you crest the hill, you see that there is the town of Dolmens, which you would imagine gets the name from the large standing stones that encompass the town twice. You see, as you crest this hill, that there is a large circle that goes wide around the town, and in between this circle and a secondary circle within it is kind of where their fields are. Within the second circle, the interior circle, you see probably 18, 19 buildings. The three that stand out to you the most are the three right in the center that have a third central circle made of three kind of Stonehenge-y looking ones that form doors to the buildings that are built up next to them. You even see that some of the other buildings are built right up onto these, mayheres, as they're just a part of the town. And go ahead and give me a perception check. Tika's perception check is me trying to read these numbers on the computer. So you're able to. Yeah, pick is deep in his flask. But you're able to tell that like a lot of the townsfolk that are out, they're all like kind of looking at you guys as you go over the hill, and you can tell that like the space in between the two rings where the fields are, they're not tended to. They haven't been plowed or seeded. You can tell they're kind of in disrepair. And you see these townsfolk and then kind of going about their business, but keeping an eye on you as you approach from the road.
I don't know what it is about this area. They just don't seem to find fields very important.
Their problems would be solved if they tended their fucking fields.
It's a good start.
Yeah. Common sense is not a flower that grows in everyone's field, apparently.
Nope.
Well, especially if you don't plow it.
Yeah, I hear that helps. So, yeah, you guys are moseying right on into town. There's no obstructions or anything.
Is there maybe a carpenter in town?
There might be. As you guys kind of like breach the second circle, by the time you've gotten here, there's like 50 people kind of gathered around this main thoroughfare here, and they're all kind of like Night of the Living Dead style zombie. Not like they're actually dead, but like they're kind of like reaching out to you, and you hear some of them are begging for help, and some of them are begging for food. They all look bad. They all look like they haven't eaten very well for a couple weeks, months even. You know, they're all sunken eyes. Some of them look real weak. Just a cacophony of help, food. Plow your damn fields.
So Mercy's like, where's the sheriff? Sheriff Dyson.
They're kind of drowning you out.
She'll yell it loud. I don't want to yell it.
No, go on. I need to know how loud. So yeah, you guys are kind of trying to get the horde of people away from you, and they're kind of separating for your wagons. Then you hear like the the cry of someone who recognizes a lover, and some people run over to the cart that you're pulling in the back. Brock, no! And this woman starts hopelessly crying. A couple people are crying over the bodies of Gerard and Misha. And just when you've kind of had enough, a lute begins to play. And it's quiet at first, but it's enough to get your attention. As everyone looks, you see like the whole crowd kind of looks. And they all kind of fall quiet at the same time as you see this guy. He's in like similar ragged clothes as the chick that Samantha seen, patchwork. His are a little bit finer. You see he's got like some long thigh-high boots on. He's got like a cap with a feather sticking out of it, and he's playing this lute. And you see that he's kind of like, he's not as emaciated as everyone else. He's still kind of gaunt. You see that he's kind of got like really long features. His nose kind of comes off like a hook. His chin almost meets it as it curves up. I mean, he kind of looks like Count Olaf from Series of Unfortunate Events without the hair and the huge forehead. His eyes are kind of like half closed as he's kind of like lazily looking about playing this lute. And And he quietly hums to himself. And he stops playing. I know. Doubt it. The crowd sheepishly parts for him, and he kind of bows like ostentatiously low, his head almost touching the ground. Greetings. I am the cuckoo. Who might you be?
Your kooky who?
Cuckoo.
And he looks at you all now like, okay, do you want my help or not?
Where's the sheriff?
I don't know if the sheriff's in right now, but I can point you in the direction of the elder's house. Perhaps he could be of assistance to you.
You seem to be well fed. Where's your food coming from?
I eat but what I can with the help of the townsfolk.
You're eating the townsfolk?
No, he eats from what he can with the help of the townsfolk.
Sounds like more than your share.
Me? Never.
Yeah.
It was Angel. Angel, give me a history check. Give me history or intelligence. It doesn't matter.
That'll be a dirty 20.
The tune he's kind of humming is the song of like the Durathian war song from the past that you had heard circulating.
Hey, now, that song you've been humming, where'd you learn it?
Oh, this? Well, I do say it came to me in a dream, maybe.
You're trying to pass it off as your own?
Well, of course. I wrote it.
And at this, she would actually look at Cletus and give him that look that says, this guy is full of shit.
Before you second guess me, I guess I must admit that I do get inspired when I go sleep out at the Burrows to the north of town. The dead just speak to me, I guess.
The dead speak to you.
Well, they speak to you too, don't they? The whispers of the trees. You know how them Durathian folk know. And he actually like instinctually looks to Chiron. You would know what I mean, am I right?
He sort of gives a look to this guy like, hey man, not in front of mom. Like looking to Angel, but also kind of like, yes, I do think I picked up the melody. It's and he sort of starts like humming it a little bit.
Yes, you're a fan of my work.
Of course, and if I may just say that I would like to apologize on behalf of my companions who have a bad habit of constantly, and I look to everyone, and attacking everyone we meet without any sort of provocation. So I would like to introduce myself. I would respectfully ask that my companions maintain their anonymity. But I am Kairon. Some call me Kairon Copperhead. And I kind of like bow very similarly theatrically to him.
Oh, yes. It's about time I received some proper courtesy. I jest, I jest. You are new to town. I don't expect you to know what it's like to be from here. And he like points to the building. It's a 2-story building. The bottom floor is made of stone. The top floor is made of timbers. It's like a small manor-esque looking home, off the center circle. Well, you see, that will be the Elder Murdo's house. He'll get you straight.
That is very, very kind of you. And I hope the service is a lesson that sometimes just asking politely can get you exactly what you need. And one more stinging glance at the party. I do believe we owe this town elder a visit. And if
We'll say under our breath, probably just enough so that you could hear, but not many else. Didn't get us the sheriff.
and
He
if
kind
I
of
could,
very well, and he begins strumming on his lute again and kind of saunters off into the din of town.
Isn't he a daisy?
He's a cuckoo.
Right. It looks like he's got chiron mashed. So, you knew him?
no, I don't know anything about this, but you can't just walk into a town and provoke people by pointing guns literally and figuratively at people. And I'm not yelling, I'm like harsh whispering. I've seen shit. I've seen shit where if you provoke people the wrong way, that this entire town could have come at you and you throw it in there, would have been nothing you could have done about it.
Yeah,
But instead you gotta be all, I'm the big upholder of the law, I'm a badass.
Don't look at me, that was Merci.
I'm looking at both of y'all.
The angel of justice spreads her wings.
Don Tootin, the guy's trying to pass off that song as his own. What a cheat. These poor folk, they don't deserve that kind of deceiving. They got it hard enough as it is. This guy's preying upon them.
I certainly ain't denying that, but there are good and bad ways about going around situations like this. I do think we should stop by the village elder still.
That's an option.
You're not, I mean, if that's the direction you're headed, you're kind of like right by his house.
Did this crowd of people leave us alone then, or?
Yeah. Whatever the cuckoo did kind of has detached them from your group.
Say, as someone's like walking away from me, where's the, do you know the carpenter?
This mousy looking man, kind of, his neck is short to his shoulders. He's not very broad. The carpenter. Yeah, he lives over in, he points to a cottage, not too far away. Not a whole lot of supplies in town. I guess it really depends on what you need. Probably could ask him.
3 coffins.
Speaking of that, there was some women that were crying over the dead bodies earlier. Are they still around or did they leave?
They're probably still by the cart. I guess we could have finished that. Do you want to like relinquish control of this cart and donkey to them?
Yeah, I at this point I lean over to the guy and I say, here's enough to cover the wood and the work.
And it's this woman, she looks, the gaunt as everyone else. She's also kind of got like a more lupine figure like Tanasha did. Her eyes are red with tears. Well, thank you. Thank you. She's weeping over her husband.
I'm thinking I probably know the average of about the cost of a coffin to be made.
Yeah. I don't want to say that it's not expensive because I don't know, but it's probably not like bank breaking like it is today.
I'm saying it's probably about 50 gold.
Yeah, sure.
For 3 of them. Yeah. And I'll give him 70 gold.
Yeah. And you can tell that she doesn't even like count it. She kind of just takes the purse and is like weeping still as she leads this donkey away.
Well, there goes our provisions.
So just looking around, we can we see a jailhouse or a courthouse?
There is a like the 3 main buildings you see here in the center of town is the one that was pointed out to be Elder Murdo's house. There is a grange, like barn, across from that, and then in the middle there's a tower that like sits a story above it. It's the tallest building in town, and you can see that there's actually like a stone like placed on top, and like from where the sun is hitting it, as you guys have been, it's actually to the east of you. It's kind of like casting a long shadow at one of the inner ring here, and it's roughly 5 o'clock. So no, to answer your question, there's not a courthouse.
Okay. I look to Charon and the rest of the group, you know, and landing on him last. Oh, maybe hurt talking to the elder won't hurt anything, since can't seem to see an obvious place to find the sheriff.
Yeah, that's a little odd. Pick, you're about to fall out of your saddle there. You need a refill?
I reckon so. Might as well get in there and talk to the elder, try to figure out what the hell's going on with all these starving people.
I agree.
So you approach the door, which, like I said, is like within the like Stonehenge kind of figure that's posted up against the house. And a rather like unimpressive man approaches or opens the door. He's like 60 years old. He's not really showing signs of malnutrition like everybody else. He's not fat, but he's not like skin and bones. He seems nervous. Like almost by instinct, you all can tell like this guy didn't become elder of the town because he was good at leading people. Probably because he knew the right people. Well, strangers in my neck of the woods. Good golly, come on in. What can I do for you?
Well, sir, I think you can tell us why all of your people here are starving. And what the hell is going on with these ghost riders?
Oh, and he like looks out. Come on in before you start talking about ghosts and spooky things in front of the folk of town. You know, you all are able to come inside. The bottom floor where you are all at is probably the most decorated building you've been in the last couple days. There's a table, there's chairs, there's like a dresser with, you know, a pitcher of water and a wash basin. There's china. This guy's got china. there's like candlesticks like on top of the mantelpiece. There's a fire going. Come on now, sit. And you see like a couple servants. You see like a serving wench. You see a butler, and you see like some sort of secretary keeping notes over at a desk. And he kind of walks in and sits down and pours himself a glass of wine or ale. Please help yourselves. Now, what can I do for you?
Does his servants look fed, or are they just as emaciated as the other people outside?
They're about a halfway between.
Okay, so he is kind of taking care of his people.
Yeah. Well, I guess you asked about the people.
Cletus is walking around and sort of inspecting things, like making a little noise, like he's admiring the money that went into the procurement of said items, as everyone is sort of, sitting down and then just sort of eyeing everything.
Give me an investigation check. So, with your investigation, you can see that none of these people are armed. There's maybe a rifle in the corner. For the most part, this seems to be like a almost bureaucratic office. There's like the secretary's doing paperwork that's like in some sort of leisure. It's hard to tell if it's loaded. You would imagine. Yeah, there is a box of shells. You would imagine it is. But it's hard to tell without picking it up. You can see that this ledger that the secretary is working in is kind of like the last couple months. It does look well used, yes. He's kind of the secretary looks like probably the most stressed out. The serving wench is getting you guys ale, and the butler, he seems to be the one kind of going upstairs and spending some time upstairs and then coming back down and then doing the repetition. And so he says, well, it began a few months ago. We always had a problem with the Grugoch, but those are the Durathians they live to the northwest of here. They hate everybody that's not a Durathian of the Grugoch clan. I even heard they hate other Durathians. Well, usually they ignore us for long enough that as long as we stay out of their neck of the woods, and we usually don't travel too far. Hunters and loggers usually only go within so much distance to get their game and their resources. I mean, it is a big forest after all. As far as we knew, they rarely left the darkest parts of the woods. But you see, that all changed when that horseman rode into town a couple months back. That was probably 3-4 months ago. Maybe probably 4, I guess it was. We never learned his name. Never much even saw his face. He wears his cloak up so high and his hat down so low. Searching for trouble he was. By golly, did he find it, whatever he did. He went out to visit the monuments. Father in the Woods, the chapel, the circles, the secret keepers of the Red Horse, and the old barrow. Last we saw him, he was riding north of town to check out the barrow. Next thing we knew, a group of woodsmen who'd gone out gathering wood went missing. We found their bodies the next day shot full of Durathian arrows. It was like that for a while. Somebody go missing. We'd find them, find the body. Maybe we wouldn't. Then they started getting bolder, attacking the people in the fields as they were plowing. Broad daylight, I might add. Elder Merrill, the mayor before me, he led a group under the white flag for a parley, but they never came back. We found the massacre site 2 days later. He kind of turns pale at this part. We weren't sure if there were bodies, if all the bodies were there or not, the way they'd been hacked apart. Merrill's body was shot so full of arrows we couldn't even pull him off the tree. Pinned he was. We tried to send for help, of course, but that's when we found out the horseman hadn't gone away at all. He's been lurking in the area, springing out to ride folks down and hack them to bits and shoot them full of holes. We figure he's working with the Durathians, but don't know why or how he gets around the way he does. Since then, things have been getting from bad to worse. We had to eat the sheep, the chickens, so there's no more livestock. We couldn't plant the crops because they kept killing us in the fields, so there's no harvest come autumn time. The horsemen guards the roads to the south so no one gets out. And if that's Brock and his company that went out a couple days ago, it seems like they haven't got the money for food. Between him in the south and the Durathians in the north, we are barely surviving, laying low. Even the wild animals seem to have disappeared from the forest. We're getting pretty desperate. Have you come to help us?
I don't think we were properly introduced.
My apologies, and he extends his hand. I'm Elder Merlot. Or Murdos. Sorry.
Elder Murdos.
Who might you be, you fine folk?
Well, this is Tika Toscobble. Langford Pickett. This one calls herself the Merciless Angel. And this is Chiron. And I am Cletus Tilcott. They call me the Hook. But that doesn't mean nothing. Now, you said that you guys have been troubled for some time, and you may not get along with the Durathians, but wouldn't it seem paramount that you would reach out to said Durathians for help? I mean, in a time of need.
And he, as you guys say your names, he kind of like gives like a silent, prayer of thanks to whatever god he worships. Reaching out's just been so difficult. We can't seem to. Well, we already tried to parlay with them once, and they killed them all. They killed all our men. The old mate. I guess have attacks like this been happening anywhere else? We're awfully secluded in the woods here.
Have there been attacks like this elsewhere?
No, definitely not. Well, I mean, probably, but nothing like identical to this where it would be like, yes, this exact same thing is happening elsewhere.
Okay.
Please, if you please help us, I can offer you what little we have.
How about we start with this? You need to open your stores and feed your people.
He kind of like,
and I look with, and I'm in a role with intimidation. I'm not pulling my weapon
yet.
It's a 25.
So he kind of is like, you almost hear like the shaking in his chair. He's not a very brave man. That's why I'm asking for your help, sir. Don't you see? I want to feed my people. There's nothing to feed them. We can't plow. We can't get out of town to go buy food. I mean, what do you expect me to do?
I look up to the servant in the room and I say, "How much food you got?" No, don't look at him.
I would have been looking at him. Which servant are you asking? The serving wench?
The one that looks like maybe in charge, whether it be a butler type or a head lady.
Okay, so the butler, this guy, I think it's a guy. Yeah, this guy is. You see that like, he's a little darker skin complexion, so he's probably got some Durathian in him somewhere as well. His hair is like peppered, but it's almost in stripes. He's shorter. It almost looks like his legs are like longer than his arms. It's kind of off proportionate. And he kind of like, oh, well, we have a few half bags of grain and maybe some meal. Nothing we do not share with the people. And he like looks nervously to Elder Murdos. As he said, a few bags of, or a few half bags that we've already willing to share, have been sharing.
Charon wants to he's been sitting there uncharacteristically quiet. He kind of pipes up and says, Elder Murdos, you're right, we are here to help. And as I want to use my Fey Presence feature, so as an action, I can cause everyone within 10 feet of me, except people I don't want to affect, to make a wisdom saving throw, or they are either charmed or afraid of me, and I want them to be charmed.
What do I have to get?
So you need to beat 15.
So, he looks relieved when you speak up, but you can't necessarily tell if he's been charmed. It looks like you may have been successful, but this guy doesn't seem like outwardly fond of you guys now that the attention's been pushed. Mechanically, he got a 16 on the die.
Okay. So, but he's still kind of. If we're gonna be helps, and the trust has gotta go both ways, and we gotta have total honesty. Not to say that you're lying now, but well, if you're lying now, we kind of need to know. We won't judge you. 5 strangers roll into town, never seen them before, offering to help. If I was in your shoes personally, I'd be kind of suspicious, but all I'm asking for is honesty, Elder.
For anybody that thinks I am lying, go ahead and roll deception. Or not deception, insight.
Oh man.
Whoever thinks I'm lying, everyone rolls. Haha. It's hard to tell. You know there's probably some absences in truth that he's saying, but from what you can tell, as dodgy as it is, he has been telling the truth. To an extent. He hasn't like averted his gaze, I guess. If he is lying, he's damn good at it.
I'm going to walk over to his rifle and pick it up and then look over at him and say, oh, May I?
But of course.
And immediately I start kicking out all the shells. And then I just kind of look down the barrel, not at him, but at the wall. Just check to see how the if it's been well cleaned.
It seems to be pretty well taken care of. You did notice before that it has seen some use, but probably not recently. It seems fairly like clean. Like its condition is worn, but it's clean.
All right,
Probably
I'm
hasn't
gonna
shot in a little while.
pick up the shells and kind of put them in the container next to it and just set it over. Nice fire iron.
But of course, to protect ourselves. I can see that you aren't enthused with my company, so why don't we find the sheriff and we can get this mess tidied up. He can corroborate my story. He's been here the whole time.
Now you're talking.
I've been talking this whole time, man. What are you talking
But
about?
now you're saying something that I want to hear.
Well, how am I supposed to know what you want to hear if you don't speak your mind?
I'm speaking it now.
Better late than never, I suppose. And he stands up. What? You guys come into his house and give him sass and expect him not to get frustrated?
No, I'm going to look at him and I say, you treat your ladies like you treat your Durathians?
I suppose I could treat you just the same. Come on, let's go.
I guess you could. And then I just sort of, kind of act like I'm scratching my side, but show my firearm.
And as he opens the door, you can see that the sun has set. It's probably the equivalent of like a September or October. So the sun is kind of dipping below the tree line, and it's kind of in like a twilight. And as he is the first to leave the room, you see his arms are wide as this man approaching you from the other side. He almost kind of looks like Butcher Bill from Gangs of New York. He's got like a real like handlebar mustache, like a big top hat. You can see he's wearing like the suspenders and like a dress shirt, and, black pants and boots. And you see on his waist his firearm, and behind him is a woman. You can kind of tell from like the torches out that she is a lighter red hair. She's kind of a bigger woman, bigger than most of the folk you've seen here, like in terms of like strength, body mass wise. One of her arms is actually in a sling, and you see her firearm in like a sword or a saber at her side as well. And they're walking over, and you see like the elders like, "Oh, Sheriff Dyson," and as he's walking, a long feather-tipped arrow thuds into Elder Murdo's chest, easily sinking 2 inches into his breast, and he's kind of taken aback. And he actually probably stumbles into you, Cletus. I imagine you kind of were following him out the door. And his weight kind of backs into you, and you see the expression of Dyson change from kind of discontent to surprise and upset and rage. And he's kind of looking around and kind of drawing his weapon, and you see this woman pulling her arm out of her sling to draw hers, and kind of chaos erupting in front of you. And that's where we're going to end the session, because this is going to drag on too long. Are you guys comfortable with going into a second session to wrap this up?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because we did make a lot of headway into what I have, but we are not going to finish.
Tootin'.
Everybody breathe. It's going to be okay. Everyone relax. Take a breath. So as the camera pans away into the twilight of the night, you see this feather. It's kind of like it's like a gray and brown, almost like a pheasant feather. The shaft is like a sharpened U with you can't see the end. Father or Elder Murdo, kind of falling back into Cletus's arms, a red flower, emerging from the shaft of the arrow, and the gasps and cries of surprise and anguish as this has all gone down. Any closing thoughts that your character has before we shut her down?
Charon went from being just kind of like slimy and not taking anything seriously to instantly being in predatory, what the hell is attacking us mode. So.
God damn it, I'm gonna need more whiskey.
Yeah, we didn't ask the serving wench if she had any whiskey.
Cletus is just wondering, where's that damn water closet? I need a biscuit.
All right. Go ahead, Tika.
Yeah, I was just going to say that Tika is similarly on high alert at this point as well. Just like, where the heck did that come from? And got to be ready for anything.
Yeah, Mercy went from kind of a disdain towards the sky to instant kind of remorse and again on high alert. And where did that arrow come from?
That's a stupid. Okay, so the camera pans away over the dolmens that you don't know yet, Cletus. You will find out next time. I mean, how many people do you know that got shot in the chest with an arrow that walked away from it? He might be alive. So from there, the camera pans away over the dolmens and pulls off into the forest of the night. The forest in the night. And that is where we'll end it. So I'm Baron. I run the YouTube channel RWD Gaming, where you will have found this video. We are going to be running a second game of this where we can finish her up and find out what the fuck is going on in Dolmens. I am super grateful for my wonderful players this evening that I'm super happy that I either got the chance to play with in general or run a game for, and then my few returnees that I can always count on to fill the ranks for a good game. So I'm going to turn it over to them, and we're going to go in reverse order. So Anastasia, will you please kick us off?
Sure. I'm Anastasia. I just watch all of the videos on this channel. They're all great. Check out Absolute Tabletop Facebook group. That's where we all made friends. Great place, wonderful place, and yeah, I had a lot of fun. So I'm looking very much forward to the next session.
Absolutely. Certainly is a pleasure, and I'm glad to have gotten the chance to put you on the channel. Chris.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me, Baron. It's awesome to finally get to play with you. And while we're at it, I finally got to play with Philip, Dave, and Anna all in one game. How great is that? So thank you so much.
Yeah, I was certainly happy to nail down a lot of my West Coast fam over there that are such a pain in the fucking ass to schedule because you guys are like 4 hours behind me. Get on the right time frame. I'm just kidding. I'm certainly happy to have gotten everyone in this single game. So carrying right along to Dave.
It's always a fun time playing with Baron. He's a great DM. probably because he allows me to bully him as much as he does. But seriously, great session. Looking forward to session 2, and can't say enough that you should watch more of Baron's videos, more of Dargon Gaming Squad, Myths and Gears, and I don't think Anna or Phil have a channel, right? No?
We're still pushing to get Philip to have a channel, but he's a loser. So,
but definitely check out the Absolute Tabletop official group on Facebook, where we all met, and it's an excellent place, probably the greatest place on the internet. And yeah, that's me.
it's certainly up there. I mean, it's literally why I have a Facebook still. So if you're in a position where you're looking to play D&D games, that's where I would go, for sure. And it's all right having you on the channel, Dave. Yeah. I'm just kidding. You know, I know I can always count on you for solid role playing. So I appreciate you being there, Karen.
Thank you, Baron. This was amazing. I cannot wait for session 2. I really, really want to know what the fuck is going on. So it's been awesome.
What the fuck is going on?
I didn't mention it before, but yes, I have a channel, Myth and Gears. It's very small. It's got a couple of videos on it. We play Genesis there, so different game. It's pretty awesome. Anyway, I cannot wait for session 2. I don't know what else to say. This was amazing. It was great playing with all of you, and yeah, check out AppTap. It's great.
What the fuck is going on? I actually am lucky enough to be in Karen's campaign over on Myth and Gears, which is a very cool. I don't want to say it's steampunk because it's not entirely, but it's pirates and it's. We tortured a guy once. It was great, and all of the.
That's one of the highlights.
Hey man, don't tempt me with a good time. But all of the channels of my wonderful players you can find in the link below. I believe it is just Mournblade Gaming and Myth and Gears. Chris, you'll have to send me Dargon Gaming Squad link, and I can put that in there as well. And then certainly my favorite person from the West Coast, Philip.
Oh, thanks, Baron. You're my favorite person from Michigan.
That's a phenomenal title to have.
Yeah. Maybe my favorite redhead. We'll see. Hey guys, Philip, thanks for playing. Or thanks for watching us play. Thanks, Baron, for DMing. That was fun. See you guys later.
Hopefully we can fulfill your itch for a Western game with this 2-session thing. So, like I said, I'm Baron with RWD Gaming. Thank you for stopping in. Please tune in next month for my reoccurring campaign. It's the modified Waterdeep Dragon Heist to take place in my homebrew world. You can find Philip in it, doing some crazy shenanigans. We played a game last weekend, so go check that out. And you can find me tomorrow with Karen in Jeremy Lilley's Beneath the Banner's Shadow on his channel, Erasmus Expeditions. And if you are missing that, you are foolish because it is amazing. But until next time, we will catch you later.